You have to grow through what you go through.
What is up, family? Welcome into another edition of Make Every Second Count Live with me, your host, and international award-winning Make Every Second Count speaker. Now, each and every time I say that, it's like, wow, I cannot believe where I came from and where I am now. It's absolutely amazing, but I have to say that this is season 10, episode 27. When I started this show, I never thought it would be going more than 1 or 2 years. It's absolutely amazing to me that it has lasted this long, and I don't see any end in sight. But tonight's guest is Anna Quigley, and she is having some technical issues at the moment, and she is trying to figure them out. So, in the meantime, we'll see here, and we will try and carry on with this show. But, well, so Oh, well, Anna, don't worry. It's all right. I'll just bring you up like this. You're fine.
Well, it was working a minute ago, so
Don't worry. You're fine. Absolutely fine. So,
visible or not, I'm happy to be here.
Well, thank you. I am so happy that you are here as well. And we can't see your lovely face, but we can see a avatar of you, and you look awful white and gray.
Well, I'm pale. I'm Irish, so that's kind of the natural skin tone, I think.
All right. Well, top of the morning to you.
Thank you.
So, if you would like to go through a short introduction, tell everybody where you're from, who you are, where you're from, and what you do now, and then we will get into the adversity in the second part.
Okay, that sounds great. Well, again, Anna Quigley is my name. I am the founder and COO, if you will, of a company called The Call Forward. And what I do is help people that are lacking clarity on what their next steps are. We often look outside of ourselves, but the real answers are within, always. Yes, we're aligned on that. And so often we overlook the things that we are just naturally good at, and that's the key. So,
yes, that right there was absolutely amazing. I love that whole intro because it spoke to my heart, because you say that everything is in the inside, and I say that all the time. In fact, I give a presentation with the 6th graders in my town called Happiness is an Inside Job.
absolutely agree. I love that you're getting kids aware and helping them understand that at an early age.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. But first of all, I need to say hello to everybody out there. Thank you so much for watching. I'm sorry for looking down. I'm trying to invite some people to watch the show with us tonight. And I am listening, but I'm just kind of looking down. Hi, Kim Gillum. Kim Gillum is an awesome lady, and she is in the house. She is a quadruple amputee who survives sepsis, and she does all the things that normal people do or she does more than normal people do with 4 arms, or not 4 arms, but with 4 appendages, and she does it with 2 prosthetics. And I have to say thank you so much for watching with us, Kim, and I look forward to having you back on here as well. So when I was 17, I was in a near death car accident. I actually spent 2.5 months in a coma and 3.5 in the hospital. I was told I probably wouldn't walk again. And I can say now that not only do I walk, but I have walked on 4 continents. I mean, that's just amazing to me. But the thing is, I'm not saying that to brag on myself. I'm saying that to let other people know that they can get through anything if they just grow through it. I think that growing through something is exactly what needs to be done if you want to get through something. Because if you don't grow, I think you're going to continually go through it. Because this is getting a little long, I understand that, but I feel that adversity happens to teach us something. Has there been anything in your life that you have had to grow through, Anna? Or Anna, sorry.
That's okay, Jeff. First of all, I think you're amazing, and what a fabulous example of what's possible that you are and that you're sharing. So I'm so in awe.
Thank you.
But like
Thank
I, but like everyone, we all have had our challenges. I've had my share. A couple of them. One was a health related one, but another was one where I wasn't really paying attention to some of the red flags and the little things in life that were telling me things were not going in the right direction. And it's so easy for all of us, I think, to ignore those. This was particularly true for me because I had created the life that I had dreamt of. I had always wanted to live in San Francisco, and I had a wonderful job and a beautiful home and friends, and everything felt right. But there were little things that were popping up that were letting me know I was kind of in the wrong direction, in the wrong place. And it wasn't until within about a month's time, my whole life imploded. The job disappeared, and I was in a legal battle with, some real estate, and it just felt like this dream the bubble had burst. And I, of course, being human, I took a couple of minutes and said, "What did I do wrong? What's going on with me?" And sanity came, because normally I know when things are chaotic, what helps me is to step back, find a quiet space, find some place where I can meditate and listen to that inner voice that I had been ignoring, to be honest. And I stepped back. I said, okay, I literally said out loud in my house, I need to find a mountaintop and go sit and meditate. And within less than 2 days, my cousin called me and invited me to an ashram in India, which just so happened to be on top of a mountain.
That's cool. Wait, before you go any further, there's something that everybody needs to understand, not just me, because I don't know either. But what is an ashram?
Oh, it's a spiritual center.
All right.
And so there was a wise man, and this was a community where people would go and we would meditate and we would chant. And it was a spiritual community in India. And I'd always been drawn to India to begin with. And practically speaking, yeah, I could have stayed and taken care of all the legal stuff and finding a job, blah, blah. But that you don't get signs that clear very often. And I knew that this is something don't mess around with. You ask for it with such intensity of spirit that I had to listen. And I, of course, did. And I went and spent 3 weeks in India, absolutely in bliss. And yes, Ben, meditation, absolutely huge. And I came back with clarity. I didn't get the whole picture. I never get that. I get about 3 feet in front of me, and then I have to take a leap of faith, trusting my intuition, trusting that divine guidance that's in me.
What do you mean by you get a vision of 3 feet in front of you? I'm confused by that.
I never get to, I'd love to say, here's what's going to happen the rest of my life. I have a plan, it's all set out. I don't get that kind of clarity. I get to know, all right, the next thing for you to do is this. And I got that one step. It was like, all right, it's time for you to move. That's what I got when I was meditating in India. It's time to leave this beautiful area and move to another place. And I ended up,
I'm sorry, Ben Bruce is asking, what do you mean by a spiritual community?
It was amazing. There must have been about 400 or 500 people from all over the world that came together in this little community outside of Bangalore, India. And we would gather a few times a day. We would sit in community. We would meditate. There was chanting. It was India. So we did chanting and had time to just reflect and meditate. It was really amazing grounding and clarity space, sharing space with like-minded people, spiritual-minded people, seekers. It was extraordinary. And it gave me that peace and that quiet to really look within and start a little more self-assessment as to what was really important to me. What was it I was doing, I needed to do, and what was it that I had been avoiding or ignoring? It was powerful.
That's a really big question that I think a lot of people don't truly ask themselves. I don't even think a lot of people realize that there is something they're missing in life. So what is that something that you think people are missing?
We have within us the answers that we need. We have this incredible intuitive nature that we're born with. Everyone has intuition. And I believe it's our divine guidance system. I even call it our internal GPS or God positioning system, because it's always there kind of guiding us toward our next step. And when we learn to recognize how it speaks to us, sometimes it's a gut feeling, sometimes it's, chills when you're in the right situation and you just know something feels right. The more we listen to that, that helps guide us. But another thing that I also discovered is that I was looking outside myself for what the job should be, what the career should be, what I should be doing, because of expectations, because of my past careers. And something that was so powerful that literally changed my life was starting to ask, what are my gifts? What are my unique gifts? Because we all have them, a special set of things that we know how to do. And only we can express them in our unique way. A lot of people have the gift of music, but not two of them express it the same way, or we wouldn't have the Beatles and Bad Bunny at the same time.
Well, they weren't at the same time, but
different genres. There are different ways of expressing that gift.
Agreed.
And so I did some exploring at my gifts, and I started asking friends and family, okay, I'm missing something. And what's so easy about that is because these things come easily to us. It's the things that your friends will say, oh, Jeff, you're so amazing. How do you do that? I would give anything if I knew how to do that thing that you do. And if you're like me, I kind of dismiss it. It's like, what are you talking about? That's just something I do because it's so effortless. But those are keys. So I asked family, I asked friends, what do you think I love? What do you think I'm good at? How do I show up when I'm at my best? And everyone knew I loved travel. That was an easy one. But I had a couple of people say, oh, you're so good at accessorizing jewelry and handbags and decorating your house. And I was kind of like, well, thank you, but I need something that's going to help me. That's a lovely compliment, but how is this going to help me start a new business? What I didn't know, and I found out shortly after, I decided, because I love travel, to start an import business. So I went back to India and I started looking around. Okay, what could I bring? Well, it took about 3 days. And I realized I had this V8 moment. It was every store, every street vendor, every stall that was selling, guess what? Accessories, handbags and jewelry and scarves. I would just
Connection.
ta-da, ding, ding. That's what I say. That was my big V8 moment. It's like, that's how this unique, weird little gift that I just always thought was part of me, but my friends saw it as something that they couldn't do. So that's what I decided to import. So I started a business based on one of my unique gifts that I had never given any credence to, because it was just easy. It was just something I did. I didn't think it was really valuable.
Wow, that makes a lot of sense. We have Ben Bruce in the comments who, oh, I need to mention that he is from the Seychelles in the Indian Ocean, if you're talking about that direction kind of thing.
Oh,
And
fantastic.
so this is an international show. He says, how can I recognize my internal GPS?
Our intuition speaks to us through our senses. Our senses are the primary way that we actually feel experiences. It comes through our visual cues and our auditory cues. And those messages speak back and forth with our brain. Actually, most of it comes through our senses, and it's all communicating. So it communicates back. When we're getting that internal GPS, it often speaks to us through our senses. Like, again, that gut feeling, like when you just walk into a place or meet someone, it's like, oh no, this something doesn't feel right here. Or you get chills, and that is confirmation. But it can come with that little voice, that still small voice that's like, turn left, and you go, why? Why? It doesn't make any sense. But you never know. You could have missed an accident. You could have, when I don't listen, I usually end up stuck in traffic or something like that. But when you do, quite often, you don't even know why. But it's also things like visual cues or clues. If you notice something 2 or 3 times in a row, or 2 or 3 people say, Jeff, you really should watch this movie or read that book, I pay attention to those because I've learned that there's something in that for me. So one of the first things that I suggest people do is start making a note of when they have those feelings. If they get that gut feeling, or they get that hunch or that inkling to do something that maybe isn't rational, it wasn't planned, but it's an instinctual prompt that guides them or directs them a different direction. Start paying attention to those. The more you learn to recognize in your own body how those are speaking to you, how they're communicating that intuition, the easier it becomes to listen. You get to be familiar with how your body is speaking to you, really, how that intuition is guiding you. So yeah, it's a good place to start.
Wow, that was a profound answer. And I have to say that Ben Bruce said, thank you, Anna.
Thank you, Ben.
So I'm curious though.
Mhm.
When you say everything imploded, you lost your dream job. You lost everything pretty much.
Well, the not everything, but the external things, the job and the house. Obviously, I had my health at that point, which is, as we all know, is like number one. And I still had friends, but the foundation, the structure that I had thought would be what made me successful, that fell apart. And in an odd way, it forced me to look inside and not at the external.
You know, I seem to mention this every week on this show, and I'm sure everybody out there is probably getting a little sick of it. But so I have been studying the Stoics a lot, and that one of the things they say, or they said, that I am kind of paraphrasing at the moment, is that the opportunity comes from the fire. So like the fire is there to make us stronger. And by that fire, I'm meaning an obstacle or a situation that you can't figure out at first. I'm saying adversity. I'm saying anything that causes issues in your life. That thing is, it's there to make you. That you are going to come out stronger because the obstacle is the way.
It so often is. It so often is. And when we look back, I know in my instance, in that situation, when I looked back, there were signs, there were whispers. My intuition was kind of telling me this is off. The property that I ended up with with legal issues, I had some notice, if you will, from external and internal, that was not really the property, but I was so in love with it. It looked exactly like what I had dreamt of. And I stayed attached to that belief rather than listening to my inner guidance, rather than listening to that saying, yeah, it looks beautiful, but it's not the right fit for you. And I ignored that. So I take ownership on making some mistakes in not paying attention. And again, it provided me an even stronger opportunity to learn whether I wanted it or not.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying earlier, that those things that happen to get in the way are there to teach us something. They're not necessarily there to stop us. I think they're there to teach us something.
Absolutely agree. Now, do we have to go through something that difficult? In my case, no. And I think for most of us, no. But they come up when we're not paying attention to the little signs. There's a saying, it's like, the universe whispers and then it yells and then it brings out the big bat. If you're not paying attention, it brings out the heavy armor. And it's like, hopefully we can catch those things when it's whispers or a little shouting.
Yeah, that's so true. So what would, how would you say people can recognize those little intuition feelings that you say we all get?
Again, it's a matter of practice. It's awareness. Recognizing your intuition is a skill. Like anything else, the more we do it, the more we practice it, the better we become at it, the easier it becomes for us. So noticing when that happens. You may have had an insight and an aha moment on Monday, and then Wednesday you're like, "Oh, no, what was that? what happened on Monday? I know something happened." But if we write it down, then we start to see the patterns of, oh, okay, I listened to that and I ran into this old friend, or I found a great new restaurant, or I got home faster than I expected, or oh, there was an accident. If I'd gone that way, I would have been stuck in it. We start to see some of these patterns. And we may, if we note also that, oh, we had a gut feeling and I ignored it, or you start to, okay, when that gut feeling comes up the next time, you're going to pay a little more attention to it. You start building trust in those internal, those physical signals that our intuition, or that internal GPS is giving us.
Wow, that is powerful. I've never really paid attention when I get feeling like that. I'm gonna have to start doing that, because those feelings could be a sign that I'm on the right direction, or a sign that I'm on the wrong direction. But how do I tell the difference?
Oh, that's such a good question. A lot of that is experience. I will tell a tale on myself here, because it wasn't too long ago that I had come from an acupuncture session and I was so relaxed and so blissed. I didn't want to take the freeway home. So I thought, I'm going to take a back road by the golf courses and the trees, and it's more relaxing. And I got near the freeway and that little voice said, take the freeway. And it startled me because I was so relaxed. And I thought, no, I have a plan. My rational mind was like, no, we had a plan. We're going to stick to it. This is what you wanted. And so I ignored it. And I went a couple of blocks past. And again, that little, that quiet little voice sometimes, and this one yelled at me. It's like, turn around, turn around. And I hate double backing. So that annoyed me. And I said, what do you mean turn around? I'm already there. It's fine. And I went maybe a quarter mile further and I ended up in traffic. I ended up in major construction. And it probably took me an extra half an hour to get home. So it wasn't the relaxing, peaceful trip. But what I loved about that, it was such a good lesson, such a good reminder for me, because if I'd listened to that little voice saying, take the freeway, which was not my plan, I would have gotten home easily. The freeway probably would have been fine. I'd have gotten home and I would have thought, oh, I wonder why. I would have been nice to take the scenic route, but I wouldn't have known. I would never have known what block that I passed. And that's one of the lessons. It's like, we don't get to know. So that's where an act of faith and learning to trust that intuition really comes into play. Because once you start seeing how much, and most often it's operating to our favor, in our benefit, then you start trusting it more. We start listening more.
Wow.
And I practice this. I know better. I know that voice. I know to listen to it, and I still ignored it, Unfortunately, I'm still far too human.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. So, Kim Gillum says she's learned to write notes when she has those feelings. And then Martha says that her advice to pay attention to our gut feeling is good. So
Yeah,
you're really resonating with a lot of people out there. And then
I can tell they've had similar experiences. So, and it's not just the gut. Again, it could be the voice, it could be chills, could be seeing repetitive or hearing repetitive images. Every one of our senses is working to kind of share this information. So,
and then Ben Bruce says he has to start applying this in his daily life. And I know that he's going through some things at the moment, and I want you to be strong, Ben Bruce. You know what you're doing. You've got this, man. Hang in there. So, but unfortunately, we're out of time.
oh no, we could talk about this for hours and hours.
Yes, agreed. But I want to tell you thank you for taking the time out of your busy evening to be here with me. Oh wait, it's not evening where you are.
Almost.
I want to say that thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to be here with me and my people out there. I know they appreciate it and I appreciate it. I've taken a lot of lessons back from this, and I'm going to get the show notes and be able to look through them all again. So I appreciate it, Anna.
May I
And I got
offer?
your name right.
Thank you. May I offer a gift to your listeners,
Yes, you
particularly
sure can.
since we've been talking a lot about intuition and that inner guidance? I have a tracking sheet, a workbook that kind of explains how intuition can speak, and it's got some places where you can start tracking all of that. And if they go to intuitiongift.com, they can sign up for that, and I'll send it to them.
All right, and you'll have to send that to me through Facebook Messenger,
I
and
will do
I
it.
can put it in the show notes.
That's fantastic.
All right, cool. Well, I want to say thank you, everybody out there, for watching, liking, commenting, subscribing, however you were supporting the show. Thank you so much. We're in season 10. And I
Amazing.
cannot wait for season 11. But until then, I need you guys all out there to do me a favor this week, next week, and for the rest of your life. I need you to make every second count. Why? Because you never know when those seconds will run out on your one life. Thank you again, Anna.
Thank you so much, Jeff. I so enjoyed talking to you.
Have a fantastic evening.
You too. Take
Bye.
care. Bye.